Hello and greetings. Of course, this is an unannounced broadcast and deliberately so. So whoever joins, so be it. But while you're here, if you don't mind, would you please let me know whether you can hear clearly and you can see clearly, so that I can address these matters as I find it necessary to do so. Some of you have been eagerly anticipating my speaking to matters regarding elections and the rest of it. I have said and will say today that which most of you are all aware of. I therefore bid you all shalom and thank you so much for joining this broadcast. As long as you can see clearly and hear clearly, I shall speak to the matter. If you don't mind, please share this with others as well. This is so pertinent, so critical. Thank you, Sister Michelle, for the feedback. I can therefore begin to speak to this electoral or continued electoral fiasco in Guyana. I can speak to the preachers as expected, their silence from both the PPP and APNU AFC's camp. I have no reservation, none, in calling out these wimps in pulpits who have benefited extensively. Thank you, Brother Ronald, appreciate it. They benefited while the APNU AFC coalition was in office. They got state appointments or government appointments to board and chairing these different boards and the rest of it. And now that the people who have them where they are out of office and cowering, good to see you, Troy, the preachers who should be voices of righteousness are quiet. Not only are they wimps, they are opportunists. They know that if they do what I do, they may lose certain benefits. So they don't ever want to be prosecuted. All they want to do is receive benefits, handouts, and systematic and strategic positioning. There have been quite a few cries across this nation about the APNU AFC agents, or perceived to be agents, suffering at the hand of the PPP Civic. And there are many persons who are calling and asking for the church, or for me, to speak to matters relating to Volda Lawrence, for example, Lowenfield, Mingo, Myers by extension. But I'll say this much to you all of you. First of all, let me speak to Guyana's electoral, or what they call PPP, witch hunting. If anyone in this country, any one of you, expect the PPP Civic to be fair-minded, just, and right in the way they handle people, I don't know which country you live in. I am honestly trying to figure out if some of you are from Guyana or planet Earth in the first place. You saw in March the PPP Civic at the GECOM Center for District 4, which would be the Ashman building. You saw their agents, you saw their representatives, you saw their leaders saying publicly, oh, they like to say this, the whole world saw, that they even, Hanneman, threatened a police officer in terms of her job. And you were saying, after you observe all of that, that you expect these people who in Ashman's building at the GECOM Center for District 4, where it is legally required for the CEO, for the chairman, for the returning officer to have absolute control of that environment. You saw the agents of the PPP Civic and other parties totally disregard the law in your face. The whole world saw that they paid no attention to what was legally expected of them, which is that they submit to the instructions of the CEO, that's law. The returning officer, that's law. The chairman. They didn't do that. They disregarded everything that was constitutionally required of them. And you are now expecting to whine. I'm talking to you Abno FC cronies about what PPP Civic is doing. What is wrong with you people? I always ask you this. What is really wrong with you all? Do you expect anybody to dance to the stupid tune you're playing now? You were threatened since March. I guess you think it was a joke. Shalom Al, good to see you. Guyana, I told you before, and this broadcast is to remind you of certain things, that you are led by lawless people on both sides. They do not respect the law unless it is in their favor. They have no regard for the Constitution unless it is in their favor. These people do not even respect you as Guyanese, and you're whining. So let's begin from there. The PPP Civic showed no regard for law and order. In the face of law enforcement officers, they were disrespectful to authority. But in the midst of that, I said to you, since March, until and now I'm allowing what I would love to see to take its course. I said to you that Mingo, the first one, as the returning officer, not presiding officer, for the largest voting district in this country, being District 4 or Region 4, needs to answer. Claudette Singh was supposed to make him answer for the numbers he got. I don't care what court you talk about. There's no witch hunting here in this regard. Mingo, if he is innocent, he is free to give a simple explanation for all Guyanese to hear how he arrived at the numbers he did. It is simple to me. And I repeat, the only explanation that Mingo can give that's legal is that the returning officers, according to the law, presented him with the statements of poll according to law. And from those statements of poll, he derived or ascertained total votes cast. There is no other legal explanation unless Mingo can say that he discovered, or it was reported to him based on the poll books, that there were so many discrepancies that those ballots were disregarded. I'm giving you the legal explanations he can offer. Mingo cannot offer any other explanation. If you are here for me to take the side of any one of these people arrested, you're on the wrong broadcast. Shalom, Pastor Mel and others. You are on the wrong broadcast because I told you all I do not support fraudulent behavior, be it from the APNU AFC or PPP Civic. I do not support fraudulent behavior. I don't care from where. This, and I'll get to the point with Sammy hopping around the place in a minute. Secondly, Lowenfield offered at least 4 different totals from 1 recount and count. At least 4. In his capacity as Chief Election Officer, he has the right to determine what, and we've dealt with this before, would be valid votes and what are invalid votes. It is therefore critical for me, in a legal matter, which every citizen has the right to do. They have the right to file private criminal charges against any state official. Some of you APNFC people didn't want to do it. So don't whine now. You had the chance to file criminal charges against any officer, any agent from the PPP Civic who would have been wrong to you, who would have sold you house lot at crooked prices, who you could observe were having massive contracts and siphoning off money. You had every right as a private citizen to bring them to justice. You didn't do it. Now, if somebody from PPP Civic, like Ramson, chose to do so, what are you mad about? It is their constitutional right. Let's get this straight. You may not like it, but it is within the constitutional right of any Guyanese to file a private criminal charge against anyone holding public office. Now you know. What should Lowenfield do? Simple. Prove that what he did was lawful. I would expect the court. I would be surprised, but I would expect the court to uphold that which is lawful. If Lowenfield acted within the confines and the ambit of law, then fine. That's okay. The assistant to Myers, the deputy to Mingo, same thing. What is amazing to me, though, is that the PPP Civic told us that the whole world saw the rigging, and the whole world saw what happened in Ashman's building. So why is this extensive investigation ensuing? If the whole world saw it, then you have all the evidence you need because the whole world saw it. You said the ABCE nation saw it. What's the problem? If everybody saw it, what is the issue? If everybody saw it, what is the problem? Why don't you then use what the whole world saw? Why you need police officers to have people under arrest and all the rest of it? If the whole world saw it, then simple. You file a charge against the person because the whole world saw it, so make it legal. Then you take the person before the court because you have all the evidence you need since the whole world saw. But apparently the world didn't see. So now you have to bring witnesses to ask somebody certain questions. You said the whole world saw. You PPP Civic people. What's the problem now? You are playing games with people in Guyana. And of course you know that when it comes to unrighteousness of this nature, I have to speak to it. Remember that y'all from Apnea FC said that I was false and the rest of it when I told you that David Granger, when he saw Ali and those people going to visit the Evelary, I think it was in July or early July, I said Granger, if he has any sense, will know something is going to happen in the future. But no, remember I'm false with that too, right? When I told you people, you Apnea FC-ites, that when you see politicians go to visit, in their mind they've won. So they know that, and they already know the systems in place through Mercury that would get them where they have to be. They know exactly what's going to happen. They saw that Sarah Ann Lynch was not going to allow Granger to be in power, period. Mike Pompeo, never. Chatterjee and her diplomatic criminals, they would not do it. They all wanted Granger out. So the PPP Civic knew they had the full support of these people. So what do? They approach Evelary, the head. They approach the military, the head. And they have certain conversations. Granger saw nothing wrong with that. Nothing. It was fine for him. So now when the people are acting on what he should have dealt with in the first place, you have a problem. I don't have an issue with that. My point is, if David Granger, while in power, allowed this to happen, whatever his supporters got, you deserve it. That's my policy. You ask for it. You're not going to call me false and all kinds of names and I must come to defend you. No, let's defend what is the fact on the table. Your leader allowed these things to happen because in his mind, I would like to think, he knew he was not going to be in politics anyway. My question to you is, what is being done now that is unlawful? There can be things that are done that are deemed unjust in terms of appearance. Fidel, he knew because I saw it. Everybody saw the vehicle drove into Evelary and said they're going to have a meeting. Miss Clark, Madam Clark, David Granger knew. In his normal, nonchalant, uncaring manner, he didn't care what happened, I would like to think. But my point is yours. You Apnea FC said I was false. So what happened now? Because I told you, once you see they meet with police officers and the rest of it at that level, they will reshuffle to have their agents function on their behalf. That's expected. But I was false. Further, let us not forget. Let us not forget that there was a recount with numerous reports called statement of report. And the statements of recount bear records and reports of what happened in every ballot box, barring one. Here is my thing for you PPP civic leaders and supporters. Are you telling me that in all of this, Volda Lawrence, which I'll speak to in a minute, Lowenfield, Mingo, Myers, Livan, I think the person is, or Livan, the other assistant, only people who are perceived to be APNU AFC persons in GECOM are capable of being arrested? So you're telling us as Guyanese that based on what we were seeing and hearing in the reports every day from the Arthur Convention Center, no presiding officer, no other returning officer did something that was criminal? That's what you want to tell me? Let's deal with what you said you wanted, which is a recount. And based on the evidence that Claudette Singh has admitted to from the recount, the only person, there is evidence that persons have got voted without any form of identification. And they swore that I am who I am. But you can't find certain matching documents to say, okay, then this is what it is. Are you telling me that based on what Guyanese and the whole world saw at Arthur Convention Center, that the only people who are supposed to be arrested would be Lowenfield, Myers, Mingo, and assistants? That's what you want to tell me? And that's what you expect any right-thinking Guyanese. Where are the letter writers? Where is Granger's son-in-law? Where are y'all? Why you can't talk now? Why you cannot address this now? Where are you trying to tell us that with the number of all of these discrepancies, only the people, I say again, Mingo, Lowenfield, Myers, the assistants of these people, or the admin assistants and so on, they are the ones who are capable of being arrested? Sally Jones, what proof do you need? I said nothing about APNU FC, and some of you need to pay careful attention in this broadcast. I said nothing to you about APNU FC's proof. I said to you what the statements of recount proved. That's not APNU FC. Madam Sally Jones, the statement of recount comes from the recount at the Arthur Convention Center. That's under GECOM's jurisdiction, not APNU FC. I said nothing about APNU FC's here. There is evidence in the statement of recount that is admitted to and signed by the PPP Civic. And Nandalal and others said that there will be these things. And yet you see the allegations. I get the likes of you have this country where it is. Because I'm just telling you that the statements of recount are not allegations. They are reports. And the reports I'm saying were the news as well published. That there are no matching. I'm not speaking about GECOM, I'm speaking to what happened at Trunk Convention Center here. That's GECOM I'm addressing. Claudette Singh said she has no authority to act on that evidence. So don't tell me there wasn't evidence. There was more than enough evidence. Her position at the end of the recount was Article 60 cannot, or the 60 cannot be activated because I don't have that power. She never said the things were fraudulent. Were not fraudulent. She never said that it was a lie. She never said that. She said that she has no authority to act on it. It can only be dealt with by a petition. She never said it wasn't true because the record was there. My point is, why are you telling me? This is not an apnea up here. I want to know why would the Guyana police force only find it necessary to arrest those few people that I mentioned who appear to be APNU AFC supporters? Why? What about the returning officers who did not follow the law, statutory regulations? That's called law. What about them? What about the presiding officers who would have submitted these things to Mingo and those? Why can't they come to answer questions? Dr. Singh is the chairman of GECOM. These things happen under her watch. She's the chairman. What question was she made to answer? When was she called before to answer questions? When? By the way, she violated law by permitting a recount, which is absolutely illegal. She know the law. The law was that you're supposed to have a petition filed in the first instant. Then the court will determine if there should be a recount. She bypassed everything the court said or determined and went straight to recount. That's illegal. What question is she answering? What? I am saying to you, and I hope you don't misunderstand, I'm saying to you, I have no issue. Arrest all of them. Arrest Mingo, arrest Lowenfield, arrest all of them. But you need to let me know that you're going to arrest the other people as well, because according to the statement of recount, it wasn't just Lowenfield. Lowenfield had nothing to do with the statement of recount. You need to arrest all of the returning officers and presiding officers who submitted these reports and who could not submit statutory, legally required documents. I'm not talking about some order here. I'm speaking to what the law requires. The Representation of the People Act is a law. And the law requires that these presiding officers and the returning officers, especially returning officers, must submit with the ballot boxes certain documents. The record shows that in 47 or so boxes, no such document existed. And you tell me that only 3 or 4 people must answer? I don't support that, see? And I do not support the PPP Civic. I support what is lawful. And I'm saying to you, according to what is lawful, I have an issue with that. So you cronies who came on my page, I want you to speak to that. Don't hop around the place. Come and talk to that, you PPP Civic supporters. Speak to that. Don't hop around the bush here. Every agent, if you want to speak about malpractice while in public office, if you want to speak about what was done in an illegal, unlawful manner, in a reckless manner, and all the rest of it, while in public office, the presiding officers, the returning officers who did not submit the valid documents, they violated a right and a duty that they swore to perform. They should be charged as well. I don't know, you start with Lowenfield. Now I shall speak to what you PPP Civic supporters on my page. I know that you're quick to hop with that, but I don't think that your leaders are teaching you common sense. So I will try to help you, although I may fail miserably, but I'll try. Volda Lawrence is before the court because he said that her signature was on a statement, an official document for GECOM, and she's arrested. Let me tell you how silly this is. First of all, if you know anything about matters of fraud regarding signatures, it is a difficult thing to prove, because the first thing that the police force should know, and I would like to think they know that by now, is that you have to prove that Volda Lawrence signed it. Not that her signature is on it. And that just went over some of you PFC dummies, PPP dummies head right away, because your leaders don't teach you common sense. The first thing that you have to prove is that Volda Lawrence signed it. Not that her signature is on it. There's a difference. She can only be culpable of wrongdoing if she signed the document, not if her signature is on the document. So unless they have some video evidence to prove that she's signing this document, you cannot do anything to that woman. You should find something else to charge her for, not that. Because you don't have common sense. But it seems as if, and I use the word seems as if, the people who had a lot to say, the PPP Civic, or it appears as if, they're chasing after certain people, because she was one in Ashman Bill who told me, oh come and try it. So they have to prove to her that you can't talk up to me and get away with it. But I'm saying that her signature on a document is what she's arrested for, and you expect that to win that in a court of law? I would love to see in a court of law a judge sentence Volda Lawrence to prison if they cannot prove that she signed the document. Because some of you from the PPP Civic don't seem to know what forgery means. You said that Myers is charged with conspiracy to commit fraud. And Myers, a deputy chief election officer, is before the court, or will be put before the court, because she conspired to commit fraud. Conspired with whom? If she conspired to commit fraud, it means the Ghana Police Force already has information to verify the same. You can't say she conspired and call her to ask her questions as if she conspired. That is called idiocy. When someone is charged with conspiracy, generally if you want to get the person, I'm teaching you again, hopefully you will understand. You already have, for example, surveillance footage. You already have tapped phone calls. You already have maybe text message records. You have everything to say, we have the proof that you conspired. Somebody had a bug with a microphone and they were able to record her conspiring. What I would like to think, if you said the whole world saw Myers' rig election, then all this is available already to the police. What you calling her to ask her for? Ask her what? If the only thing you can ask her, is this your phone number? Is this your telephone? Is this your house? And of course, if it's conspiracy to commit fraud, you should have all that available. There are certain basic things that if you seek to bring certain accusations against people, you must have common sense. There should not be a rush to justice, as you call it. How can you say that I conspired to do something and you ask me questions about a conspiracy for me to help you in the investigation? What is wrong with you people, man? Now I move on to my other point. How Guyanese, how can we have a situation in our country in which the chairwoman, now it could be, I'm just asking because it's interesting to me. The chairperson of GECOM was represented by an attorney of GECOM. It is dumbfounding. I would, in this case, I'd like to have some answer here. It could be that the people chose somebody else. But how could Lowenfield be before the court? Mingo be before the court? Myers be before the court? And none is represented by GECOM's attorney. But Claudette Singh was represented by GECOM's attorney. I am saying it could be that these people chose somebody else. But in my view, I would like to have an answer for that. As to why the attorney for the Guyana Elections Commission is not representing the chief election officer of that commission and the deputy chief of that commission and a returning officer who functioned as an employee of that commission. I'll address this Bertram Budu idiot for 1 second, because you need to hear how stupid PPP supporters are. Quite a few of them. Bertram Budu said a person has not to be seen forging a signature once it's there. It's a crime against her, so she had all the time to debunk her alleged fraud. Look at this donkey. So you're saying to me then, Mr. Idiot Bertram Budu, that if I forge a check, a signature, with your name, and go to the bank to cash a check, or I forge some signature of yours, not the bank, and I commit fraud, you're guilty of it? That's what you're saying to me? As long as your signature is there, you're guilty of it? Is that what you're saying? Is that the degree of stupidity that you people function by? Have you ever heard about forgery? Are you aware that it's a law, it's a criminal offense to forge somebody's signature? Are you that stupid? Therefore, in any matter where a signature is in question, it has to be proven that the person, the bearer of that signature, signed it. You cannot be this stupid on a normal basis. It must be the heat. And if you do not know, Volda Lawrence doesn't have to prove anything regarding her signature. The police have to prove that she did it. The prosecutors have to prove that Volda Lawrence signed it. She doesn't have to prove she didn't sign it. They are the ones. If you don't know the law, let me help you with the law. The Guyana subscribes to the human rights of UN articles or declaration. And the Declaration of Human Rights says that you are innocent until proven guilty. Proven guilty. Stay here, you donkey voodoo. Therefore, Volda Lawrence doesn't have to prove anything. She is innocent across the board. The law has to prove, the court has to prove that she would have signed. She doesn't have to prove she didn't sign, because she's innocent until proven guilty. That is called a human rights declaration by the United Nations Charter of 1948. Instead of being my page being an idiot, maybe you should take time to read. Lowenfield, anybody, Mingo, anybody who's brought before a court of law, the burden of proof is on the one who is accusing them, not the defendant. I would advise you to change the water you drink, because apparently the water is affecting you. You've been stupid for a long time, and I take a moment to address you today because it seems as if you have no end. And typically donkeys don't have any limit. Even your handlers in PPP Civic didn't speak as stupidly as you did. If the fool is asking again, she can be arrested, because within the law you can be arrested. But when you are arrested and you're brought before the court, the proof, the burden to prove is not on you who's arrested. It's on those who arrested you. That's why there's something called a wrongful arrest. That's why there's something called freedom. There's something called the matter being thrown out or you expunged. I say again, go and ask your PPP handlers to help you. I wouldn't like to help you this afternoon. You've been stupid for the longest while, and I would not be able to help you within a few minutes. Ask your handlers to help you, so you can look less stupid on my page. As I was saying, the burden of proof is not on any of the accused. It's on their accusers. Additionally, I am very, very intrigued by the fact that the employees, such a significant leader in GECOM as the CEO, is not represented by the GECOM's attorney. It could be, and I say again, that the Lowenfield said he wants to have nightly use or whatever it is. It could be Laurel. Thank you so much. My language may be a bit too lofty for him indeed. But what you do not know as well is this, that Guyana is taking a turn that's very dangerous here. Because if Claudette Singh did not once cite Mingo for wrongdoing, how is he before the court? The commissioners of GECOM never once investigated Mingo's number. But Mingo's before the court for criminal activity? How do you do that? How did Guyana get to this state? How did we get here? I'll tell you how, because I told you all, Guyana is a corrupt nation. Of course, some of you said it was false with that too. GECOM has 6 commissioners and a 7 by extension in the chairman. And none of them examined Mingo's document and how he arrived at those numbers. None of them examined the presiding officer's statement supposed to give that was given to Mingo, or should have been given to Mingo. But they are allowing, in this case, Mingo to be before the court, Lowenfield to be before the court, when the entire process was quashed in the first place in terms of the count. Gordon Langevin is asking a question. Do you deny that she should be on remand until proven innocent, or is justice elective to your public standing? Volda Lawrence should not be on remand for anything. And I would like to think that you're bending down the road of Voodoo as well. On remand for what? If the matter before the court or on hand here is that Volda Lawrence signed a document, thus committing fraud, the only way you would hold her on remand is if she's a flight risk, which she's not. Or she can corrupt the evidence. Can you, Mr. Langevin, tell me how Volda Lawrence can change a signature on that document if it's already in the hand of investigators? If the police have the document they claim she committed fraud with, what is she on remand for? Can she change it? Because you put her away so she would not be able to commit or affect the investigation. Can she do anything to the signature that you already have at Ivlery or wherever it is? Tell me, please. What's she being held for? What action can Volda Lawrence perform to adjust that which is before the police now? What is she being held for? Is she about to escape and flee to some other country? She's a public figure. She's known, of course. She was a minister. She's the leader of the PNC. So obviously, she cannot hide somewhere at the airport. So what is she being held for? Okay, you say witness tampering. Who's the witness? What witness? How can she tamper with a witness? Witness to what? The matter is whether she signed a document. The proof for them is that her signature is in the document. So what witness can she tamper with? I say to you again, in a court of law, when it comes to fraudulent matters regarding signatures, it is a very, very difficult thing to prove. Because I say again to you, sir, even if somebody stands and say, I saw Volda sign and Volda didn't sign it, that is not evidence. The witness, the hearsay, or I saw her sign it, is not enough evidence in a court of law. It doesn't carry as much weight as a video recording to prove she has it. She did it. Am I saying that Volda Lawrence, if she's proven to be guilty, should escape? She should be jailed. Anybody, I told you before, anybody, including Volda Lawrence, Lowenfield, Mingo, all those returning officers, everyone involved in electoral fraud, for me, should be put to death. Bottom line. You're too lenient with them, as far as I'm concerned. But my issue is, don't come and hop around the law here and dance around and play these games with people. If they are guilty, by all means, they must be dealt with more severely. So much so that Ghana must never have this happen again. But I would not sit back and allow anybody in this country to do these things and then expect it to be okay. As I said to you, why in the world must only a few people be brought before the court and arrested when you have so many records in the statement of recount? It's public knowledge. You all say it's public. The whole world saw the recount. So why can't we have these returning officers come to the court and to the police to answer questions? For example, why did you allow someone to vote if they had no ID? And you have no record that somebody swore in terms of an affidavit that the person voted. Why did you allow that, Madam Presiding Officer? That's what you need to do. That's what I need to hear. The polling agents, you need to come and answer. Who walk in this room and have all of y'all accept that they could vote without an ID and without a sworn affidavit? That's what I need to know. Don't handpick a few people. No, show me that you're serious about electoral fraud in general. But only the persons from Region 4 are culpable? What about the other regions? I have a serious issue with Guyanese because I see where this is going. Some of y'all didn't see where this is headed yet. I see exactly where this is headed. And it's not going to be good for Guyana. This is not going to be good for Guyana. I promise you. And finally, you silent wimps called preachers. Where are y'all? Where are you? You cannot even open your mouth or move your fingers to type about this gross wickedness is happening in your country. You PPP supporting preachers, you can't talk either? You think that this is okay? You think this is fine? You have a matter in your country, and I spoke to this already, whereby just because somebody is elected president, all charges against the person is dropped. We no longer have an interest in pursuing a matter. So then I could kill somebody then. It seems in this country I could do whatever it is. And if you choose me to be president, once I'm elected, once I'm sworn in, we no longer have interest in pursuing the matter. And that doesn't bother y'all. That doesn't bother you people. Where are you preachers? Because it doesn't seem as if y'all understand what's happening in your country. And why there's need, not for just electoral reform, there's need, I tell you again, for reform in terms of the presidency. No president in this country must be immune to prosecution. None of y'all. The presidency of Guyana must not be a free-reigning society environment. You PPP preachers, you apnea preachers can't say a word about this because y'all like to grovel at these men's feet and suck up to them. It doesn't even bother you that this is happening in your country. Y'all are so wicked, it's disgusting. Don't tell me the electoral reform. I'm saying again, you have issues in this country. Ramatar, for example, sold the Kanji block. $5+ billion worth of oil is there to a company that has no physical office. They don't even have a room. And Ramatar sold them oil. And he's free. And you people don't got an issue with that. You have no problem with that, some of your guys, because after all, we PPP Civic. Your PPP Civic president did that. They don't have a website. And he sold the Kanji block, the oil block, to these three people, who then sold it to Exxon. And none of it, and Ramatar, that to you is not a crime. To me, that's a major crime that any president should answer for, because there's no way in the world that anybody with common sense will sell 5 billion barrels worth of oil to 2 or 3 people, the block, who don't even have an office or a web page. Y'all don't see where this country is going, some of you. because you're too blinded by politics and political affiliations. You don't see where these politicians are taking y'all. That's why some of you, like Budu, is prepared to defend idiocy, stupidity to the maximum. To the point where he could be on my page saying that just because somebody's signature is there and she's a minister, it means she did it. Because nobody would forge a minister's signature. That's how stupid these people are. I say again. But I will continue to have an issue with you wimps who call preachers. You all are disgrace. You are yourselves atrocities. I can promise Guyana with all of my heart that if you want to hear these Jesus preachers, you Jesus bats, talk, let the PPP civic government or any government in this country say that they're going to put a tax on the tithes and offering in churches. I promise you there'll be a big protest in this country. You want to see the preachers talk? Smith and all of them? Let the government say we're going to tax the church. You pay 25% or 10% on every dollar you get in offering and tithe. You'll see how quickly they can find a voice. The only reason they'll talk is for money. Nothing else. You think they're scared? You go touch their money. My hope is that the court or the courts of law in this country would stand by what is lawful, and every hand that played in this fraudulent election, they must be brought to justice. Please, if you can, adjust the laws, amend the laws to jail them for life or have them hung. I don't care who you are. But I'm not going to ever sit back, and I bid you shalom and goodbye. I am not going to ever sit back and allow any politician and any octopus or tentacle of a politician to pretend that you're serious. You're so serious, yet you're doing these glaringly obscene and wicked things, such as arresting Mingo, Lowenfield, Myers, Liven, Lawrence, and 47 returning officers, presiding officers, cannot speak or can be made to address what happened at their polling stations. I'm not going to accept that. And I hope I was very clear today. I hope that I was absolutely clear. While you're at it, please make amendments to the law to deal with David Granger. If he is culpable, there should be no presidential immunity. If Volda Lawrence or whoever says this man advised me to do this, then the immunity to prosecution should be removed from Granger and should be jailed. That's how serious I am. Nobody must be able to hide behind any immunity here. I appreciate your time. And I thank you. And I do hope that this was clear enough. I bid you all shalom and goodbye. If you do not mind, please share the broadcast, so probably one of your police friends will see it in the upper tier, and they'll begin to think differently and begin to act in a manner that's a bit more sensible. Goodbye.